Sehr geehrte Damen und Herren, mein Name ist Christian Blaser. Ich vertrete hier die Stiftung Architekturdialoge und bin verantwortlich für die Organisation dieser Architekturvorträge. Die Architekturdialoge Basel engagieren sich in 4 verschiedenen Gefäßen, um die Architektur einem breiten Publikum zu eröffnen. Erstens die Architekturvorträge, bei welchen seit 30 Jahren große Namen den Weg nach Basel finden. So sind wir auch heute zusammen. Zweitens die thematische Reihe Architektur und, welche im Herbst 2010 wiederum zum 8. Mal Architektur in einem Kontext darstellt. Eine Architekt oder eine Architektin spricht mit einem Gast aus einer anderen Fachrichtung. Drittens die Architekturtage, die Journée d'Architecture, welche im Baden-Württemberg und Elsass seit 2008 bereits bestehen und ihr südliches Ende hier in Basel jeweils mit zum Beispiel Open Houses teilhaben. Und last but not least führen wir die Veranstaltungsagenda aller Architektur und architekturnahen Veranstaltungen hier in der Region Basel. Wir geben einen Newsletter heraus und haben eine laufend aktualisierte Website über die Architekturveranstaltungen. Wer interessiert ist, den kostenlosen Newsletter zu erhalten, kann beim Ausgang eine Anmeldekarte mitnehmen und dies per Schneckenpost einreichen oder auch direkt auf dem Web unter www.architekturdialoge.ch sich melden. Unsere Veranstaltungen sind immer und alle kostenlos. Liebe Architekturinteressierte, unsere Stiftung ist eine Non-Profit-Organisation. Sie wird ehrenamtlich geführt und betrieben von 8 praktizierenden Architekten und Architektinnen. Bei einer solchen Organisation fallen natürlich Kosten an, zum Beispiel für die Führung einer kleinen Geschäftsstelle, für Versände, Website-Designs etc. Unsere Stiftung ist bereits schon im 3. Jahr kontinuierlich und großzügig unterstützt von der Firma Regent Lighting. Ich möchte mich an dieser Stelle bei der Regent Lighting herzlich für dieses große Engagement für die Architektur der Architekturdialoge Basel bedanken. Der heutige Anlass findet im Rahmen der SWISSBAU 2010 statt. Die SWISSBAU ist nicht nur während der Messe unser Hostingpartner und Sponsor, sondern seit Jahren unterstützt sie unsere Architekturvorträge und bietet uns eine hervorragende Infrastruktur an, auch der SWISSBAU. Herzlichen Dank. Es freut mich natürlich, als Schlussakt der SWISSBAU Ihnen 2 Architekturvorträge im Doppelpack, sogar double loaded, kommen dann 2 Bilder hier, bieten zu können. Die heutigen Vorträge werden großzügig unterstützt, neben der SWISSBAU und der Regent, die unsere Stiftung unterstützt, von der Firma Walter Meyer AG, einem weltweit bekannten Unternehmen im Bereich der Klima- und Fertigungstechnik. Dann der Firma Hilti, bekannt, ich habe gesagt, alle, die eine Bohrmaschine haben von Hilti, dürfen vorne Platz nehmen. Die Firma ist bekannt für Befestigungs- und Abbautechnik. Und last but not least hat sich auch ein Planer hier, die Projektentwicklungs- und Managementbüro von Danny Waldner, erkenntlich gezeigt. Besten Dank den Sponsoren, ohne die wäre eine solche Veranstaltung nicht möglich. Dankeschön. Wie Sie sich sicher vorstellen können, ist die Organisation dieser Architekturvorträge eine etwas nervlich belastende Angelegenheit. Die Referenten sind meist nur schwer im Voraus zu bestimmen, da die Stars, ich meine jetzt die Sterne, laufend um die Erde kreisen. Und es ist schwierig, sie zu einer Landung zu zwingen. Umso mehr bin ich stolz, dass in Basel dem nicht gerade größten Spott auf der Weltkarte, hochkarätige Architekten zu uns sprechen können seit so vielen Jahren. Wie Sie gesehen haben, haben wir zuerst in den Ankündigungen zu diesem Anlass Sana aus Tokio porträtiert. Wir haben auch eine Zusage erhalten. Die Zusage hat sich dann um eine Woche nach hinten verschoben, was natürlich in Bezug auf die SWISSBAU nichts bringt. Dann haben wir weitere eingeladen und das Glück gehabt, dass Shigeru Ban und Massimiliano Fuksas zugesagt haben, darum auch das Doppelpack. Trotz großer Anstrengungen konnte dieser Vortrag stattfinden. Gut, wir müssen Ihnen jetzt trotzdem nochmal ein bisschen etwas anderes da mitteilen, nämlich, dass Massimiliano Fuksas aus gesundheitlichen Gründen und auf Anraten oder Befehl seines Arztes die Reise nach Basel nicht hat aufnehmen können. Wir bedauern dies, wünschen ihm gute Besserung und sind aber froh darüber, dass sich ein Projektchampion oder Projektleiter Tommaso Villa an seiner Stelle den Vortrag halten wird. Sie verpassen also nichts. Shigeru Ban ist seit gestern Nacht hier und wird dann den zweiten Vortrag gerade im Anschluss halten. Now a few words about the Studio Fuksas. The Studio Fuksas was formed in 1967 in Rome. At the time, his primary occupation has been mainly in Italy. In the 80s, he shifted his focus of work and his office to France and founded many offices in Vienna, in Frankfurt, and the last in Shenzhen, China. The Studio Fuksas is run also by his wife, Doriana Fuksas, and his life is moving also around the globe, and he's living in Rome and Paris. He devoted special attentions in his work into urban problems and large metropolitan areas. Fuksas built the Senate Music Hall outside the city of Strasbourg. I want to point out a very close building of the Studio Fuksas to you. It was opened in 2008. The Senate is a wonderful shrine for all kinds of music that is wrapped with a reddish light membrane, which glows wonderful in the night. The facilities can accommodate an audience of over 10,000 people, and it is the largest of this kind in France. Now we are keen to listen and see more about the work of the Studio Fuksas, and please welcome from Rome in Basel, Tommaso Villa.
Grazie mille. Buongiorno. I'm gonna speak English, even if I would like to speak Italy, but I don't know how many of you will understand me. So I'm here because Mr. Fuksas is sick, unfortunately, but he really wanted to attend this occasion, and so he managed a different way to produce here his job, choosing images and telling me basically what to say, which type of line to follow, and he was really sad about it. So here I don't have basically any drawing here for you today, because what we chosen is to produce images as architecture which are built and which can show their meaning through the images and through what they really are, not what is intended in the drawing and in the sketch or concept. So this is the Musée des Graffiti à Nyon in France. Is a 1993 building, is something like a landscape architecture. It's not a building, it's something which belongs to the mountain. And as you can see, it's something that comes out from the stone and follow these hard lines coming from the mountain. And here we are on the view of the landscape. This is Candie Saint Bernard, always in France, Parigi, 1996. Basically, all these buildings belong to the period Mr. Blaser was saying before, in which Mr. Fuksas rounded his attention to the France and to the French scene, I would say. And here we are in the Maison des Arts in Bordeaux, 1999. And here something different in Austria, Vienna, 1996. This is the sketch for the, sorry, this is the sketch for Bordeaux, always in French, at Maison des Arts. And what I would show to you is how it's similar, the sketch to the building. This means that Mr. Fuksas has always in his mind the meaning of the building, always from the beginning. Even when you meet him for the first meeting, in the first concept meeting, he has always in his mind what he wants to give to the meaning, to the building, in terms of meaning, in terms of colors, of forms, and powerful as it is in this building, with this main shape overhanging the whole building. And here we go, basically inside the building, going around and having a look also in the inside, how it is the working time of the building, because the building has always a behavior to follow. And here again, what I was saying before. Okay, here we go in Vienna for the Twin Towers in 1996. This is a sketch from Fuksas, and this is the building from Fuksas. Here again, what I said before, the direct connection from the sketch to the building. Of course, it is something that comes always from the companies and who really built the building. But the meaning is that he has in his mind always what he wants, basically. Here again, this play of full and empty and different surfaces with different playing of the light going through or stopping on an opaque surface. Here from the top and here from the cut in between. Okay. Here is the view from the city with the connection from the building to the city, and here again from the way and during the night. Here we go in Africa, in Nigeria, African Institute of Science and Technology. Here we go on 2006 around. This is a project which at the end had a lot of problems and at the end stopped. But what we want to show you is the different way to start from. And so a sketch done on this is a model, this is a plastic model with some papers just as a sketch to start from. And this is the drawing coming from the sketch. And this is the model, the presentation model done to the sketch and to the drawing. There is always a connection, I would say, in between the first sketch and the final project. If it changed, it's because or changed the project in Fuksas' mind, or changed because another reasons, technological, or I don't know, the time going ahead. but the connection in between the images produced by the team is always present. Here again. Okay, here we go in Jaffa, Israel. This is, I suppose, a very known project, finished the last here some months ago, and we have here some images of the moment of the history of the project. This is, of course, a very important moment of the first gig of the project with the two main characters of all the story. And that was the site, yes, at a certain point. This is the site with the building done, finished. There is some images of the visit of Fuksas. This was the visit of Fuksas. You can see the different shapes. I'm gonna back. The different shapes related in terms of material, in terms of treatment. This is a totally different language to this one and this one, but at the end, something that would show as a big mess becomes a very important moment of dialogue of different languages and surfaces. This is something which Fuksas is sometimes trying to follow. And this is from the interior. Here again, different surfaces, the smooth surface with the shaped. And here again, the same stuff, here with all the different solutions. And this is the skylight from the interior, yes, here again, the interior. And that's the last one, I suppose. Oh, there's one again. It's a Congress Center. It's called the Peace Center, and it's an institute of science and technology for Congress, for conventions, and also some laboratories, I suppose. But it's gonna be finished in this period because it's been inaugurated some months ago. Spring, I suppose, but I don't remember, really. That's the reason why so many light, I mean, natural light. Okay. That's another project done, inaugurated in the last months, and this is in Italy. It's the church of San Paolo in Foligno, and this is the sketch of Fuksas, and that sketch has a very important meaning because the surfaces of the building was intended to be red on the outside and on the inside. At the end, Fuksas went one day, they were closing to finish the building. He went there and he saw the concrete, nature and pure, and he said, no red, I don't want a red anymore, I want like that, I want nature and pure. And at the end he was right, because probably it's better. And here again some sketch from him. That's the presentation model, yes. And this is the final building. This building is done in the, probably all of you know that we had an earthquake in this area the last year, and another one very big some years ago. And this building is in the place in which they had the tent when they had the earthquake. And this shape, it's known that this shape follows the containers shape they had after the earthquake. And there's a convention in between the local administration and the owner, which says that in case of earthquake, because it's a very probable zone, seismic zone, they need space to be able to manage the camp again all around the church. And for this reason, there are so many open space here and on the back side of the church. These are the pictures, the official pictures done by the official photographer. And this is the inner side of the building. Are basically two boxes, one inside the other one, and with the light coming from the up. The meaning is that the godness, I mean, it's inside the people, because the outside box it's the people, and so it's like if God is all around us and belongs basically to everybody of us. And this is the reason why these surfaces are treated very well, and this is pure with all the sign of the human job, of the stratification of the concrete, because it's the human being. Some of the pictures, these are all operas from very known artists. And this cone of lights are connecting the box, the inside box, also in terms in the structural terms, because in somehow it has to be hanged on. And here again, pictures. Okay, here we go to Torino, Italia, always. And this is Porta Palazzo. It's an exposition center. All these projects basically belongs to the same periods, and so you can find something very similar in terms of colors, in terms of shape and way of cutting or shaping corners or kinks. And this is, we are in 2006. It's an exposition center in a very exchanging place of Torino. You can find, as I can see, you can find this solution for the glasses, for example, which is something belonging to that period. You will see again in another different project of Fuksas, but this means that basically he has some logical connection in between his choices of the solutions, the design solutions. That's from the inside. There was a pre-existence underneath found out during the job, on the site, I mean. And so the project has been a little changed to adjust the new building with the relation to the old one. And that was a matter of playing with the columns, and there's a very beautiful picture at the end done with the real situation but treated as something very artistic. And but this is the real situation, playing with the colors and the surface outside and inside. And here we go in something I was saying, which has some similar solutions. We are in Centro Ferrari, siamo a Maranello in Italia, and here we have something. I would say that this building has a very important solution and very different from some others building, which is given by the bearing going all along the box and becoming a part of the interior. Now the picture I want is coming, but here you can find out what I'm saying. Eccola qua. In this picture you can understand what I'm saying, and because to allow this big this big overhang has been chosen to go for that structural solution, and instead of having two big bearing and an empty space in between, just because he really wanted to keep the thickness of the slab and playing with it, not going for, I don't know, meters, at least 1.5, I would say, but staying on something smaller, having this design element on the inside. This is again the connections, and the idea starts from a requirement to have the nature inside the building, and so going around to the interior court, you always find green and nature all around. This is un centro ricerche, studies for Ferrari and Maranello. Always nature, water, so image, playing with colors and shapes. Shapes very clean, but reflecting and duplicating those themselves. This is by night. I really wanted you to remember these suggestions of the colors and all these shapes, because if you keep remembering, you will follow those along the presentation in other projects. For example, the Milano Fair is something similar. Okay, here we are in the Euro Park in Salisburgo, in Austria. This is 1994. Actually, this is a very simple building, because it's at the end of the day it's a park, it's a parking, a big parking. But this means, no, questo non è, questo qua, this one, yeah. This means how he can play with colors, shapes, and meaning, languages inside the building, even if the function is not so important, I would say, but not important in terms of meaning of the building, important in terms of living. Living a parking is different of living a house and a shopping mall, for example. And he has been studying the facades very hardly during several months, and this playing of blades and colors gives importance to the building, and playing with those. And here we go to the shopping mall Eindhoven in 1999. This is another type of building in which there's a connection in between the old one and the new one. This is the space in between, and as you can see, has been treated in a very different way. Of course, we are speaking on the right, on your left side, for the new one. And here again another picture of the space in between. Okay, this is one of the most known in Italy project, and we are speaking about Centro Ricerche Nardini. Is a very important brand of grappa, is an alcoholic in Italy. And we are in Vicenza, appunto in Italia, siamo nel 2004, and that's a very, very strange project, but very fascinating. Basically are two bubbles, and that's the shown area of the headquarter of this brand. And underneath these bubbles, there's all the laboratories and the technological area of the building. This is by night, and these are the connection on the ground. And basically you go to a point in which you can choose to go upside or downside inside the ground. And I think that the technological solution in this project has reached a very important step, because having all this double, tripled curved glass and keeping a very smooth detail and a very clean solution in terms of connection of all these surfaces has been very hard. You can recognize basically the main structure of these big bubble eggs, as you like. And pictures again. It's a very fascinating place, even from the outside and from the inside, because also from the inside you have the reflection of the others bubbles and the light from the other bubbles to your ground, because it's reflecting, as you can see in these pictures. And then you have the connection, the stairs, and a very, very rich space. These are pictures, and this is the underneath space going down to the real research space. Okay, here we go to the cloud. It's known as the cloud. We are in Roma. It's the Congress Center at the EUR, and all this area is gonna be something very important and rebuild. There are many projects also in this, not from Fuksas, of course, also from this area, and so this means that he is building in something very changing, in a very changing way. The cloud, that's the sketch, that's the scheme, sorry, that's the sketch of the cloud. You can clearly recognize, if you know the project, probably. The box, the glass box containing what happens inside, but believe me, you will understand after this, the next image is also the sketch. And this is what we have inside. Compare the sketch, I want to convince you. Compare the sketch with the box and what happened inside. This is not a sketch, that's a paint. And the model with the box and what's inside. This is the comparison of the old architecture in Roma, coming from the Rinascimento, from our history of the architecture, and this new way of building in which you can do basically whatever you want, playing with the shapes, because we have the computer, we have the models, and Mr. Fuksas always starts from plastic models, and so you have always to show himself your ideas through the plastic, and he does his changings always through the plastic models. And so the meaning is a box, the traditional architectural box, the box of the traditional architecture, I would say, containing the new discovering. These are all the studies done for the clouds. This is the model coming from the competition. This is a picture from that model. And there are actually, this is 12 years ago, around. Actually, is just changing the level of this floor. And so they have been keeping very hardly the starting idea from the competition, and now they are building up because they are almost done. And okay, this is the research center for the ASI, l'Agenzia Spaziale Italiana, and this is another quick image of this project, and here we go. Okay, this is the MAB, this is the MAB in Frankfurt. This is another project which has been inaugurated some months ago, and with always this way of playing with the shapes and with the glass and with the opaque surfaces and the translucent surfaces, playing with the light going inside and so on. This is a very, very fascinating place. And playing with the slabs, playing with the stairs. This is a very long stairs going through all the holes of the slabs. And okay, this is something similar built in, it's called Mainz, it's built in Vienna, and in Mainz, of course. And from the outside it's a little bit different because it has this treatment of the surfaces, because change the functions also inside. And on the inside we have this relation on the outside from a very solid surface and a very dismantled surface. And in this case, the relation with the existing building has been very hard, I would say. On the inside, we have a language very similar of holes and different shapes crossing one to each other. Qui siamo di nuovo in Italia, here again. This is Pescara, il polo direzionale, the headquarter of the Cecco, and this is basically the connection in between what we have been seeing till now, because we have two different languages, and so this similar to what we see before in terms of holes and very, very treated shapes. And after that we have on the downside section, that's the basement of this, something more clean and smooth. Okay, here we are in Switzerland, in Berna, and it's a shopping mall. 2000, yes. And here we are in, this is the Admiranta, the Eindhoven in Netherlands. And this is built, almost built nowadays. Here we are in Hong Kong. This is Emporio Armani. This is the first of jobs Fuksas did for Armani. This is the first in Hong Kong. This is Tokyo, Ginza Tower. All of these three projects are done nowadays. They finished the last one the last year. That's this one. It's Armani, Fifth Avenue in New York City, with this main character, I would say, which is the stair, going in a very sinuous way through the hole, because the slab had this cut, basically. Here there was nothing, and so there was the space for the stair, and Mr. Fuksas decided to full the space with not such just a simple stirp, but a form as something organic going to the last floor. The stairs are many stripes basically crossing each other's while they are going upstairs. It's been very hard to manage the final 3D model and the final buildable study of it in terms not of shape but of technological system, because it's a stair and so has to follow law requirements and distance and dimensions, very fixed. And here again, from the downside, it is self-carrying, and so all the slabs and all the system is a structural system. Here you can see, I think that the images speak alone. It's better than me. Okay. Here we go in Marsiglia. Yes, it is. Euromed, Marsiglia. Here again, bubbles and very technological hard studies on how trying to follow and keep the idea to the competition. Here we are in Gazprom, San Pietroburgo. Gazprom Tower was a competition, and these are the pictures from the models and from the 3D model. Here we are in Paris with a Défense Tower. Here again, the meaning, I think, it's a way to study a skin, very simple, very regular on a skin, on a surface, which can go around. Here was that comes from the competition, I suppose, all the pictures. This is Savona, again another project belonging to that studies. Okay, and that's the Zenith. I'm almost done. That's the Zenith history, because Mr. Fuksas did 3 Zenith. The first one, it's in Strasbourg, in France. This is the biggest. And it's a very, very fascinating place. This red surface, which seems hard and opaque, in the reality it's translucent, and you discover it only in the night. It sounds like very simple, I can understand, but in the reality it becomes something very, very fascinating. And this is from the inside, and these are all pictures done from the inside. I just want to go to the second Zenith. This is a play as a theater. As you can see, it's just a second skin, and just to protect the real meaning on the inside of the building. And that's the inside. Okay, that's the second Zenith, done always in Francia. It's in Amiens, 2008. It's something very similar but smaller. And there is the third one in Dijon, always in France, and it's the smallest. Okay, this is one of the most known projects from Fuksas. This is the Milano Fair. And I have to be quicker, I suppose. And these are all the concept images for this project. He wanted to make the the roof of the main walkway having a link with the hurricanes, and that's why he started doing these studies, always coming on two rails. One is the digital study, and the other one is the physical study done, as I said before, always by plastic models, always done by different materials to study the way of shaping what it will be built. And this is the building some years ago, because they were finishing also the connection system. Yes. And as you can see, it's a very simple system of exposition areas, very useful, and a very long walkway with all the connections, and a covered walkway. And also the connection, one of the most important thing of this project is that the connection with the city, it's my city, and so I know very well this place. We are in Milano, for whom doesn't know. The connection with the city by the underground is very quick, and you arrive here, so you can just jump out to the underground and start your walkway. Even here you find the language, the Fuksas language, in my opinion, because you can find out the shape, the shape we were speaking about before. You can find out this way of always trying to challenge themselves to the structural system, to the technological solution, and very different shapes speaking each other's. Inside here you will see in other pictures, I hope, there are some bubbles similar to Nardini, always to, exactly, that one, always to resume, basically, all the language studied during the years. And that's the hurricane. There's a very beautiful picture of the landscape you have when you go to Torino, for example. You pass by this place by train or car on the highway, and you see the landscape. As you remember, while I was asking you to be remembering, we had some pictures with colors and reflections, and so here you can find out what I was saying in terms of language and line followed during the years. And the picture I wanted to show here, always nature inside, with reflections, with colors, with the games, basically, of something real and something not real. This is the bubble. And this is the inside space, are very useful, and so very simple to manage and change, and that's the picture I wanted. This is the service center, this is the logo, it's the meaning of the fair, and while you go by the train or by the walkway, the highway, you have the snow and the mountain all around, and this meaning. That's the logo and the center. During the night. And that was the inauguration of the project in 2000. The first design week the project did, and that's the stamp done for the project in 2005. Okay, here we are on the last project, and this is the Shenzhen International Airport. This project is building up nowadays. They are going very, very, very faster. I'm working on it actually, and so I know very well this project. And basically what I can say to be very faster, it's that the skin of the, of the airport is the project, is what we have been trying to investigate very hardly with engineers and with a very big team done by several profiles of professionists. Meanwhile, the rest of the team in Roma's office, were working on the plan layout, on the function, on the connections of the interior, I mean. And the project comes from 35,000 different panels which are crossing and going all around the skin with different open dimensions of the openings, these points, these dots, and giving different lights to the interior. That was the competition model done in September 2007. Yes. These are pictures from that. This is what I was saying. Bigger holes for bigger lights and the watch out, smaller holes for protection from the sun and from the heat gain, for example, and also from the outside view of the structure of the system you have in between the two skins. This is the skylight. This is the site. Actually, this picture is very old. Has been passed some months, not so much. In September, I remember, was this picture, and nowadays completely different. They are going very fast. That's the last one. Okay. I hope I gave you a linear view of the project of this last, I don't know, 7 years of the office. And I remember Mr. Fuksas was very sad to not coming. And what I can finish my lecture is that probably are shaped, sometimes strange, sometimes very hard to manage also in terms of technological and structure way, and they change because starting from a concept you understand that you have to change because it's not buildable or needs to be adjusted. But never forget, in my opinion, that there will be one day one man coming inside these buildings, and so having feelings, having a sensation from the lights, sensation from the temperature, I would say. And this is one of the most important things to be kept in mind, the human being of the architectural behaviors. Thanks a lot.